Keo Zels, it's finally official. It's the worst kept secret in world rugby that you're at the Stormers. No, it's that the rivalry tour, the greatest rivalry tour, has officially been confirmed between SA Rugby and the New Zealand Rugby. It will be 7 matches in South Africa, 3 test matches. The 4 URC teams will play the All Blacks, and there'll be a 4th test match, probably in London. It will be between August and September in 2026. The All Blacks came here in 1976. They came in 1996 on a tour, and now they're coming in 2026. 2 + 6 makes 8, and that's the tour numbers.
I don't believe it, mate. Were you at all those tours? Did you attend matches?
Mate, I was a young pup. I was 8 years old in 76, and I got to see 3 games of the All Blacks.
On the TV?
No, mate, at the ground. I was there when Robbie Blair did his business in 1976. He kicked the goal line conversion to beat the All Blacks 12-11. Newlands erupted. I was there for the test match at Newlands, and then I was also at the Goodwood Showgrounds to watch the SA Proteas, the Federation team, a team made up of colours who played in the Federation, lose 25-3 to the All Blacks. Sid Going, the Māori, was playing scrum off. It was the first time I actually saw the haka live. And it really wasn't a haka like we know today.
Mate.
In 1996, I was in the press box, and I was there at Loftus when Sean Fitzpatrick pounded the ground when they defended for the best part of 3 minutes, 33-26, defending that goal line to win that test match and become the first All Black team in history to ever come to South Africa and win a series.
Wow. 4th of September 1976, mate. They played at Newlands. The Boks won 15-10. Morne du Plessis was the captain of the Boks. The captain of the All Blacks was Ian Kirkpatrick. Who was the ref, mate?
Jimmy Belton Smith. It was a South African.
Cat Bezadno.
Yeah, and he was good to us.
What a man.
Because you know the whole thing about
Wow.
Craven, what the late Doc Craven said. We go there, they cheat us, they come here, we cheat them.
That's fair.
And in those days of tours,
Yeah.
what made it so hard was in the early days, they used to come on a boat, okay, before planes existed. But when they came here, then they would stick them on a train, and they would take them like in the 49 tour when they lost so many matches. They lost to Rhodesia, the then Rhodesia, and then they drew 2 days later. They lost like 4-0 in the test series against us. Well, they would take them basically in a train from Cape Town to the old Salisbury, then bring them back to Cape Town, and then play the first test in Pretoria. Okay, by the time they were on the train most of the time. Remember that great thing about 49? You showed me that meme where they'd spent so much time on the boat coming over that they said they can't start the tour. They need to kind of just get their fitness and condition up.
Yeah.
So they gave them 2 weeks in Hermanus. And when they lost 4-0, Makotter said, too much Hermanus.
Mate, well, I'm looking at a picture of Cat Bezadno now. I want you to know he had a special moustache. You only reffed 3 test matches. They were all against the All Blacks, mate, and the Boks won 2 of them. So
Yeah.
he's a top bloke. Well, three test matches with the Boks.
Yeah, and the one that he lost, that means he lost that other house.
Correct, mate. That was the Free State match.
Yeah. Great days. But that 76 tour, I was still a pup. Then there was no internet, there was no digital. It was all scrapbooks, newspapers, and listen on the radio.
glory days, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I listen on the radio. I never knew the All Blacks even had the ball. We were always on their trial, and then you see footage of it many years later. It's like it's a bit of a different game, okay? But the
Propaganda.
that 76 win for Province at Newlands, 12-11, it was the most incredible game, and Robbie Blair was the kicker, one of my heroes growing up. I always loved the number 10 who could kick points. And he missed 8 kicks at goal. 8 penalties he missed. And he nailed 2 conversions, okay? One was from in front of the sticks, and then the last one, the last kick of the game, wrong side of the field, on the left boot, and he nailed it, 12-11. But it was in the days of the Super Springbok ball. And I got to meet him many, many years later. It was like probably about 5 years ago, first time ever. Because everyone always told me, don't ever meet your heroes. You're going to be very disappointed. So I kind of met him via his son, Robbie Jr., who's a great tennis player, went to the States on a scholarship, came back, and he's in marketing. And he sent me an email, and I told him, hey, the story about his dad, who had sent me his socks when he played his 75th game for Province, and I was still in high school, and how much I kind of hero worshipped him. And his dad then said, send me a message. I sent me an email. Hey, apparently you don't want to meet your heroes. Let's go to Stellenbosch. Come join me at Stellenbosch Golf Club. And I'm actually not a bad guy. We had a great afternoon. Okay, we drank plenty whiskey. And I asked him, like, how did you, this is the guy who's kicking at 80% all the time, miss 8 kicks. And he said, just before kickoff, the All Blacks took the ball and their kicker said that it was too hard. They wanted it flatter. And they kind of took the pressure down by a bit. And he said when he was already on the field, when they tossed in the ball, he felt like this, he's the home 10. He decides the pressure of the kicks. That's common. He said it got into his mind. The first kick he kicked was so weird and wonky. He said by the 7th one, he thought he couldn't kick a ball anymore.
He literally couldn't handle the pressure.
He couldn't handle the pressure, but he kicked the kick that won us. It was the Chris Pope try. It was the Robbie Blair conversion, 76. So that was an incredible match to watch as a young pup. And because of my mom being a Kiwi and the whole Kiwi, we went to see the All Blacks at the President Hotel in Seapoint the very next day.
Wow.
I walked in there with my province shirts on because you didn't get replica jerseys. I had the blue and white.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, I don't think it's very appropriate. Don't worry. They gave me little badges and everything and then shooed me out of there. And then 96, obviously, they came here and they beat us at Newlands in the Tri-Nations. It didn't count for the series. And then they played the midweek games. They played against Boland. I think it was out at Worcester. Nick Mallett was still coaching the Boland side. They played Griquas. They drew at Griquas. Jonah Loma played that game. John Hart told me that he had to sit in the stands. Some guy, every time Griquas scored, the kind of guy took out a plastic mallet and just belted him on the head.
What?
And then they won in Durban. Jeff Wilson scored a couple of great tries. Yeah. And then they always said they had to go to Pretoria and win there. They knew they couldn't win at Ellis Park. And it was the most incredible test match. I spent a great night in New Zealand with Frank Bunce, and he spoke about that test match, and he was like,
after 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's like what he said. Basically, they sang that anthem for about 5 minutes, okay, and they just kept on singing it. He said all he remembers doing is just tackling, being rolled over, getting up, tackling, and the Boks scored, and he looked up and it said 76 minutes to go. And so the most incredible test match. Just was outstanding. And they did it with Simon Culhane. John Preston came off the bench and kicked 2 vital penalties, and they won 33-26. But they were defending that goal line. And I look back in history now, and we were quite awestruck by the All Blacks back there in 1996. But I look now and I see how brilliant that Springbok team was. For them to have come and beaten that Springbok team 3 tests in a row in South Africa, 1 not counting for the series, was just an incredible feat. And Sean Fitzpatrick was the captain. It's the biggest thing he's ever done. I listened to Jeff Wilson talking about the greatest rivalry, and he said only now does he realize what an achievement it was to win that. He was still a kid, and it's like what's the fuss? First time in South Africa, we just won a series.
Wow.
He said the oldies that phoned them and said, our whole life we've been waiting to hear that the All Blacks will win a series in South Africa. This thing is going to be monumental. It's bigger than a British and Irish Lions series.
Definitely. I agree with that, mate. You know, you're looking at me like you're expecting a response. I'm 100% on the train with that. I think it is rugby's greatest rivalry. The tradition of those Lions series obviously go back many, many, many moons. But especially for us, growing up in rugby in the Southern Hemisphere, it doesn't get bigger than Boks, All Blacks. As much as we like to trumpet those other rivalries, there's nothing that comes close to it. And I think the recent history of rugby in South Africa and in New Zealand, the way the tables have kind of shifted a bit domestically in terms of the club tournaments, championships and competitions, and the sort of rise of the Boks, I think is really teeing this up to be a very special return to tour match rugby.
Well, it has come at the right time because Rassie Erasmus's Springboks have made it the greatest rivalry again.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 split, more weighted in our favor in the last few years because we've played at home, beaten them twice on neutral ground. But we are a Springbok team that is their greatest rival on results and performance. It's not an historical rivalry. It's not the Bledisloe Cup where we haven't won it for 24 years.
Right.
But historically, they were great. Right now, the 2 best teams in world rugby
spot on
are New Zealand and South Africa, and they have been. They have 7 Rugby World Cup wins out of 10 between them. And 26 of the 30 Tri-Nations Rugby Championships between them. They have 20, we have 6. But we have the last 2, which is all that counts.
Yeah.
Castle Rugby Championship winners. There's such reverence, there's such respect. The last time the All Blacks would have played us before they arrived was 43-10 in Wellington. That's what they're going to arrive in this country wanting to correct. A 43-10 reversal.
Yeah.
And 2 successive defeats in the Rugby Championship in 2024 in Johannesburg and Cape Town. But we know the support the All Blacks have in this country, and to finally have them here for 7 matches to play all 4 URC
Glorious.
teams. For any young kid out there, I mean, they're going to be here in August and September 2026. So it replaces the Rugby Championship. We don't know the exact formatting yet of when they will play the 4,
Yes.
where it starts. But I hope they put them on a train and send them north and then bring them south. Send them north.
I think the days of trains are over, matey. Yeah,
How do
but
we row? How do we row on land?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm so pumped for that one. And then obviously 2030, we go back and we play 3 test matches there, the 5 Super Rugby teams, and apparently a game somewhere either in America or Hong Kong or Saudi Arabia on the way back.
Whatever it takes.
But those two tours are just going to be something incredible. And we've got the Rugby World Cup 2027. 2031, that's in Australia. We go to America. 2033, the British and Irish Lions come here.
Wow.
We would have had 2 greatest rivalry tours before that. And as much as I love the British and Irish Lions, you know, for a team that seldom wins, they get a lot of fanfare.
They do, mate. It's the sort of romance of it, isn't it? The story of slapping together this team made up of players from 4 different countries, and the romance of that whole idea. So, I mean, I love the British and Irish Lions. I love the history of that team, and I love the modern history of their rivalry against South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. But certainly, for a South African and a Bok fan, and someone who respects the All Blacks, I think that this rivalry is by far the greater.
I just hope Razor gets it together and brings a team that can rival us.
Mate, be careful, mate.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly.
But the
I mean,
All
it'd be
Blacks...
good for South African rugby as well. The fact that the Stormers, Sharks, Lions and Bulls are going to be in action against a test nation in the precursor to the United Rugby Championship, I think will be huge for next season.
Sure, 76, 96, 2026. And there's still talk that the Māori All Blacks may come over and play 2 matches as well next year.
Great.
That still hasn't been confirmed, but Mark Alexander has put the invite out to them to celebrate those players who toured previously or didn't tour. They weren't allowed to come to South Africa because they were considered non-white.
What happens with Australia and Argentina in these years?
They go undefeated in the Rugby Championship.
I love it.
They have to play each other. They kind of can sort their own things out.
And I still think that, like, somewhere in the future, a tour to Argentina is going to be something to watch.
Sure, an 8-match tour there. No one will come home.
Mate, it'll be glorious. Imagine the props with all the meat and the beer.
No, and that South America, especially Argentina, is one of my favorite. Buenos Aires, I just love that city. One of my favorite places to visit. And you just got to love I do. I just love the Argentinian people. And the Los Pumas, they're just a great, great nation. You just want them to do well. And like, you want to beat them 30-29 if you're South Africa. You still got to win, but you got to tell them how good they are.
Yeah.
And then when they play the All Blacks, you just want them to win. And that's why they win earlier this year in Buenos Aires was it had to come. And the closest they got was a 25-all draw. Hugo Porter was magnificent in that game. And Kieran Crowley, who's now the Canadian coach, he hit the post with a conversion back in the day. That was mid-80s, okay? That's the closest they got at home to beating the All Blacks. But Conrad Smith, one of the great New Zealand modern-day midfielders, a bright boy, a lawyer, he kept on telling the New Zealand public, don't ask me if Argentina can beat the All Blacks. It's going to be when they do. That's how their game has evolved. Sonny Bill Williams said the same thing. Stop going back into history and just acknowledge some teams have improved.
Yeah.
Remarkably.
Yeah.
So we are getting a bit distracted here with the Pumas, but we love you, man.
Also getting distracted by this view, mate. Where are we?
Mate, you have got an incredible kitchen. No wonder you've kept me away from here. I didn't know that you were multi-millionaire. I didn't know you were so connected, bro.
I'm not connected, mate. I'm not connected.
So connected. No. We are at Doodles in Blouberg. Zels stays just around the corner in the penthouse. That big 7-story thing, that monster that's looking down. It's also known as a hotel. But Zelzy, you're good mates with the owner, Mike.
Yep.
This place is just amazing. I know it's Rusty's haunt. He comes here a lot. He stays around the corner as well. The Eben used to stay just around it's the Eben's house that he has now that he bought. Remember that interview with Rusty when him and Eben were there and like, tell them we bought your house. He's like, tell them. It's like the coach. He says, that's the Evans. That's how much he earns that he could afford it. So yeah, and I mean, And a shout out to Ewan as well. I mean, he's by now I think it's the second child in for him. Unlocked his book. If you go onto our WhatsApp channel, you'll see who won that book. But yeah, Bloberg, just wonderful being here. We're at Doodles. Get down here. You may see us again in the future. We're going to be having lunch here. It's just great, man. Great atmosphere. I thought I'd move it away from the mountain where we get that postcard view from here. But this is your valley, Bloberg.
Less shade, yeah, less shade.
You and Alan Zonda.
Yeah, it's a great part of the world, mate. Absolutely beautiful. For me, if you come to Cape Town and you haven't watched the sunset of Doodles, you haven't actually been here. It's just come sunset, this is the place to be.
You, Alan Zonda, and Gavin Rich.
Exactly.
The trifecta.
Yeah. Gav used to call it the Cape Cabal.
The Cape Cabal, the three of you, eh? Zondi's out. He's near the Blue Peter, eh?
Yeah.
In just around the corner. But Doodles, if you ever want to see Rassie, he's always here, man. This is his place. He comes for lunch, he comes for breakfast, he comes for dinner. But we've been given the place today because Al's closed the place down just for us. So thank you, man.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. Anything for the show, mate.
That's brilliant, mate.
How many times have we said mate now? Somebody's counting.
I don't know, but someone's absolutely drunk because some guy said every time you say mate, he's going to have a short.
Julian!
And he's finished. We finished him off in the first 25 minutes.
Yeah.
The rivalry tour, it got announced today in South Africa and in New Zealand. It's now finally official. It's really the thing that we want to look forward to. The All Blacks are coming. We've got a few things to go in between that. We've got an end-of-year tour, 5 test matches. The All Blacks have got a Grand Slam tour. And we have the Vodacom United Rugby Championship. And your boys, the Stormers, are sizzling. They're running hot. They're in Italy at the moment. Dobbo has sent me, they're working really hard and they're eating really good. At least the management are. And I know why you're not there, because you don't do the carpaccio and the pizza.
I don't do carbs.
Can it be a 4 from 4 for the South African teams this weekend? We keep on trumpeting them. We said 4 from 4 last time. Can it be 4 from 4 this time?
I think it can be 4 from 4, mate. You know, the broken clock twice a day, etc., etc. We've been calling 4 from 4. I think this is the weekend where it could happen. But I think for me, a lot of it hinges on the Bulls. They're in Galway to play Connacht. That is historically a tough place to win on a Friday night. Windswept Galway. So hopefully the Bulls can do it. And then Saturday, the Lions host Scarlets. They're back in town. The Lions will want to chalk up a win. I suppose their first win of the season. Same for Scarlets, both chasing a victory. And then Sharks Ulster on Saturday afternoon. Back in Derbs. They'll also be aiming for the dub there. I think they can do that. I don't think historically Ulster travel particularly well. And then the late game on Saturday is Stormers in Palma against Zebre. And obviously Zebre historically not contenders. So there's a good chance that South African teams sweep their opponents this week. We go 4-0, and I'm hoping that that'll be the case.
Okay, we're not going to touch too much on the Stormers. They're 3 from 3. They're playing a Zebra team that you'd like to think they should beat, home or away. Their big one will be against Benetton the week after. Benetton are running hot at home. They're a strong side at home. They're away to Edinburgh this week. If you want to know who I think is going to win, I've done an accumulator on Africa Picks, africapicks.com. It's a business that I'm involved in now, where you'll get all my predictions. You'll get all my kind of tips as to what's happening in the rugby world when it comes to making a flutter and making some cashish. So do visit us there. It's called Keo's Accumulator, and it's just a win-loss for this weekend. I've gone with that there. Obviously, I'm always favouring the South African teams, and that's not just with my heart, that's with my head as well. The interesting one for me is the Bulls.
Yeah.
11 changes. And when I look at that squad, it's a bloody good squad. Starting 15 and match 23. When you think of who's not playing. And that's, I think, why it just irked me a bit that they got done by Ulster in Belfast, 7-all, and then conceded 21 points in like 7 minutes. That's the team that should be comfortably in the top 4 with the quality of player that they've got going. They need to get the show back on the road. It is in Ireland. Connacht, tough buggers at home, but never going to win the URC. They're not a team that's going to win it. Stuart Lancaster has made big improvements there. He's in his first season as the coach. But you've got to look at that quality of their Bull side and say they've got to go out and make a statement and do a statement performance, especially post-Jacob with Uckers coming in.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely you look on paper, you think this Bulls team is close to unbeatable. I mean, Willie Leroux's back in the mix. You got Kane and Moody there. Jan Safontaine in the middle of the back line. Kobus Wiese and Wilco Loop sort of anchoring the set piece. It's a hell of a team, and they've got a couple of Boks on the bench as well. So, great team on paper. I think Uckers is doing his sort of due diligence and giving everyone an opportunity to play and sweat in the jersey so that he gets some intel on everybody and he knows firsthand how everybody operates and how they respond to adversity and the duress of a team that is lacking in continuity. So I think it is a bit of an intelligence operation at the moment, gathering information on his players. But in the short term, it means that the Bulls are playing with a little bit less continuity than they would have if he'd chosen who he thinks is his best 15 and play them every single week. But I think the fruits of his approach, his strategy are going to benefit them in the long run. So they are away from home. Galway is a tough place to win. On paper, you'd expect them to do it, and I'm pulling for them, but I think it'll be close.
Right. Now, you did your numbers crunching, you did your data, and the result was 34-0. The Stormers beat the Scarlets. The Scarlets are now in Johannesburg against the Lions. What do the Lions have to do to get their first win of the season and at home?
It is quite complicated, mate. Get a pen and paper. They need to score more points than Scarlets, mate. If they score more points than Scarlets during the 80 minutes of this match, they will win. The Lions are actually 12-point favourites to beat Scarlets, mate. But obviously the Welsh club's not at their strongest, not at their best. Maybe a bit of a one eye on the game, one eye on the future, because you don't really know what is the future for the Welsh clubs in the URC. Scarlets are organised, but they didn't put any points up against the Stormers, and now they've travelled across the world to get to Joburg to play the Lions at Ellis Park. It's the high-felt factor. The Lions very, very eager to win, and I think probably worth that handicap. So I don't think the Scarlets are going to win this one. I think the Lions find their groove back at home, find their pride in Joburg, and beat Scarlets.
And also, I mean, they should have beaten Zebra. They lost in the last minute. But the way they capitulated against Benetton. The one thing about the Lions, they've always been a team that plays for 80 minutes abroad.
Yeah.
And they just fell away against a good Benetton side, but they fell away and they conceded 40 points. They've got to make a statement. Otherwise, you've got to keep on asking Cash some serious questions. You know, because she's there.
Mate, I'm not giving them any ultimatums. I don't know what plan the Lions are on, but I am hoping that they bounce back and deliver a win.
But then again, tell me, how do you beat the Scarlets? You guys did the 34-0. What would the thinking be from Cash? Studying them. Forget this helter-skelter, coast to coast. We have altitude. We have the advantage. How do the Lions need to play to beat them?
Yeah, I would
when
say,
you look at the quality of the Lions team,
yeah,
and the way they play and who they're up against.
Yeah, so not having seen the Lions lineup, but I mean the Lions' key strengths there are they've got a 3 who is a powerhouse in the scrum. What you want is set-piece dominance. You want to be winning the scrum penalties battle to keep you on the right side of the field. Chris Smith is a proven goal kicker. You've got to build an innings, put the points on the board nice and early. You're at a high felt. You can kick from further. The range for those goal kicks is longer. So get points on the board nice and early. Get Scarlets chasing. Get them playing more rugby than maybe they want to. And then you've got the outside backs to take advantage of that when the errors come. So the Lions know exactly what they've got to do to win. It's about actually executing that plan and then staying true to it. And I think against some of these teams like Scarlets, who maybe aren't the most efficient and the slickest, there are lots of opportunities to play off the cuff against these guys. And I suppose when you do and you go off plan, you kind of become vulnerable to the same poison. So for the Lions, you want to stay patient, stay on the plan, trust 3, trust 10, trust 3 to give you penalties and 10 to put points on the board, and then unlock your outside backs as the game wears on and they get tired with the thin air.
And then the Sharks, they are the enigmas of the URC. You look at that squad with all the Galacticos, with all their World Cup winning Springboks, but you also look at that second tier. They're a quality team. They're not a team that should be drawn to the Dragons 17 all and defending their trial and away from home.
Yeah.
They should be smashing them.
Yeah.
They're not a team that should be 20 points, 19 points down against Leinster within 15 minutes. They're a team that should be competitive and with a belief they can win from home, but at home, no one should beat them.
Totally.
And last year, we saw that Leinster Academy side basically come over and beat them. What kind of performance do they need to put out against an Ulster side that's loving life at the moment because they got a very good win, but they got it on a 4G pitch. It's a bit different in Durban's humidity.
Yeah.
But we've seen the Sharks in the past, and Frisbee teams come there and they scrap it out for 80 minutes with them. What are you looking for from the Sharks as a South African rugby supporter?
I want every single Sharks player to stand up and play like they are playing to get into the green and gold jersey. At the moment, it almost feels like there's a little bit of resignation that, oh, well, things aren't right. We're waiting for our Boks to get back. And once they do, everything will click into place. But for the guys that are there sweating in the black jersey right now, they've got to start playing like they want to be somebody in the rugby landscape in South Africa and delivering their best performance. It can't be waiting for some point in the future. After 3 rounds, I think the Sharks are like minus 40 in the points difference, still looking for their first win of the season. And you expect that to happen now. They've come home. They're back at Kings Park where they know the conditions. They know the territory very well. and they know what's on offer afterwards at Rovers. So they'll be very motivated, keen to bounce back, and I hope we see it in their performance. Ulster, no easy pushovers. I'm not sure what quality team they've sent out to South Africa, but they can play. They showed it last week. And so, yeah, the Sharks need to deliver results now. It's time to start winning.
All right, so we're hoping for 4 from 4, por favor, as we always say. Not even with our hearts, but with our heads, we think that will be the case. We've got the quality of players.
Yeah.
2 South African teams abroad, 2 South African teams at home. We talk about the guys who have the potential to become Springboks, the guys who are legends. One of the legends that we're going to talk about in our Toyota Hilux Legend 55 series, we went with Bakkie's Buddha, we went with Donnie Rousseau. We identified the amazing, the incredible Skalk Burger, Western Province Stormers. A few games for Saracens, more than a few games. But just what he did in that Springbok jersey, Skalk Burger. And we're going to chat a bit about him and the joy that he brought us over many years. For over 5 decades, the Toyota Hilux has been conquering South Africa's toughest terrains. So to celebrate the legacy of Hilux and Hilux drivers in South Africa, Toyota has introduced a new special edition Hilux Legend 55. The Legend 55 comes with exclusive features like a roller shutter, newly designed alloy wheels, and Legend 55 badging. It's not a bakkie, it's the new Hilux 55. So go to toyota.co.za or your nearest Toyota dealer to find out more. Your favorite memory of Skalk?
Oh, mate, Skalk Burger. For me, he's a player who actually, and I mean this is a bit cliche, but in a way he transcends the game, is the terminology, right? He's a guy that is a superstar player. Like in 2004, he took over the world in rugby. This kid came in out of nowhere, a cricket player basically, and just took over the Springboks. And he became this trump card overnight. This guy who just wrecked the breakdown, got his hands on the ball whenever he wanted to, and was just absolutely fearless to the point where he was worth the price of admission to go watch him play. Skalk Burger, what he could do at the breakdown, in contesting the breakdown, the work rate of that guy, the amount of work that he got through, and then just the sheer brute, reckless disdain for his own personal health in just clattering into anybody within arm's reach was something to behold. And he's definitely, I would say Skalk Burger epitomizes an element of rugby that resonates the most with me. Like that is a reason to come and watch. I can go to the circus to see people do somersaults and gymnastics, and like I would go to rugby to watch Skalk Burger just absolutely destroy people. He was an absolute monster. And just relentless and consistent. And then sort of as you spend time on the beat and you get to know the stories behind these guys, you work out this guy is doing all this stuff on the sort of Crocodile Dundee program. Like he doesn't go to the gym. The guy eats whatever he wants to pretty much. Like he's just this freak of nature who just rocks up and just wrecks people. Just the most phenomenal story, larger than life personality in terms of his leadership value in the team. Back in the old days at the Stormers HQ, everyone used to sit on like a normal seat, like a plastic chair, but there was this giant single-seater sofa, white pleather, I think, that was Skalk's throne, and that was like his chair in the team meeting room, and I think he fully deserved it and earned it. So, hell of a great. I don't have the words to explain how great a player he was, but arguably his greatest feat was after going in for an op. After knee surgery, ended his, I think, 2012 season, which opened the door for Sia to come in. He contracted bacterial meningitis in hospital, and it was life-threatening. Like, they weren't sure he was going to make it. And everybody thought that would probably be the end of Skalk's career. And the next thing, I'm at Newlands at a press conference to announce that Skalk is back. And the Oak walks in the door, and he looks like Bruce Fordyce. Like, he is lean, like he's like Wade van Niekerk lean, and you're just like, sure, I'm so relieved this guy's healthy and back on his feet, but how is he talking about playing rugby again? I mean, what's going to happen here? And in classic Skalk fashion, put his head down, got it. I mean, probably didn't get in the gym, did a lot of push-ups, ate a lot of wors and chops, bulked up a bit, and then just reinvented himself as a linking 8. He shelved some of that confrontational physicality. You saw it in flashes and patches, but he basically just extended his career and the value that he added to the Boks, and became more of a link man in the loose trio. Just what a spectacular career. The rumors and the stories about the post-match and his vibe with obviously his teammates and opposition players, just the stuff of legend. And they just don't make guys like that anymore.
They don't. And for those who arrived supporting the Springboks and South African rugby in 2019, Skalk Burger is not just a super sport analyst and a commentator. He is one of the greats, one of the legends of Springbok rugby, a 2007 World Cup winner. Jake White's love child. Jake loved him, okay? Jake took him from the under-20s straight in. 2004, Eddie O'Sullivan was coaching Ireland. Ireland came with big raps. They lost the series 2-0. They lost in Bloemfontein. They lost in Cape Town. The man of the series was Skalk Burger. He went on to win the World Player of the Year that year, the first South African to do that. And Eddie O'Sullivan said the difference between the two teams was some bloke with a mop of blonde hair causing absolute chaos wherever he went, destruction. And that 2004 season, I still think, was probably his most destructive when he came on the scene. 2003, he made his World Cup debut with a shaven head.
I remember that, right?
Against Georgia, and he scored a try, playing at number 8, ironically. But I think the big thing for me is how he really did reinvent himself. I think he lost something like 25 to 30 kilograms. He was on death row. Speaking to him about the experience, basically the family had called people in. And so the priest was there. They didn't know if he was going to make it. He was in an isolated room in darkness to see if he could recover. His dad, Big Skalk, played 4 tests for the Springboks during the isolation era. Those who played a lot more. Big Lock from EP in Western Province. Their farm out in Valberdacht. You talk about his cricket. They've got a great cricket field there. And what people don't know is that Jean de Villiers and Skalk Burger are the best mates, and they went to school from grade R at Paul Gymnasium, Paddle Gymnasium, and they hold the record for a batting partnership. It's something like 270 runs that they did. And they played for Boland Cricket, and they played for Province Rugby.
In that?
I've spoken to Skalk. He says he scored more.
I believe that.
Jean says he doesn't know so much. But he says the greatest thing, I think Jean was also the keeper. Skalk took the new ball, but then he went and fielded it slip. So you can imagine that banter.
Sledging, mate.
Imagine that banter between the two of them.
That must have been glorious.
So and he's one of Cape Town's own, a guy born here, grew up here on the farm, Valberdacht. And the best thing about him is he sent his lighter to Sachs. I got it in.
You got them in, mate.
I got them in. So there was this great picture a while ago.
Yes.
When Sachs played Bishop's Junior School, and Sia's son and Skalk's son played against each other. And so I mean, that guy's got taste. He stays out in the Newlands catchment area now.
Yeah.
Both of them are.
Yeah.
Bishops.
Mate, what you haven't mentioned is that Skalk holds the record for the greatest hit in the history of rugby. My eyes have never seen a greater hit on a rugby field than what he did to Farida Priya. I think it was the 2009 Currie Cup. Was it semi-final? I can't remember. But he absolutely monstered Farida Priya. Just wrecked him. And I mean, Farida Priya is obviously a Springbok great in his own right. To actually catch that guy, a guy who knows Skalk's torpedo mentality better than most, to actually catch him in a big game, absolutely dent him, then get up, trot back to the scrum and give Fourie a little wink. That's one of the great moments in my sort of rugby history.
No, exactly. And also, I remember chatting to Sean Fitzpatrick after one of the test matches in Durban. I think it was 2006. They scored 2 late tries to win. I think Joe Rokathoka scored a try. But Skalk Burger was playing for us, and Jerry Collins was playing for New Zealand, the late Jerry Collins, one of the great rugby men of the All Blacks. And Sean Fitzpatrick, you go into that Kings Park B field where all the braais are and and Big Skalk was obviously, they're very proud of his son. We call him Little Skalk, but he's even bigger than Big Skalk.
Yeah.
And Sean Fitzpatrick said to him, people will pay just to watch Jerry Collins run at Skalk Burger.
Spot on.
And Skalk Burger run at Jerry Collins.
Spot on.
And many years later, I told Skalk that story, and he said, yeah, he doesn't know what it is. But when they played the All Blacks and he played Jerry Collins, he could receive the ball on his 22, midfield, no logic to it. He'd look up to see where Jerry Collins was, and he would run that direction. And like, I'm coming for you. And Jerry Collins knew he was coming. And he said, and there would be this earthquake basically as they connected.
Yeah.
He said then when he was defending, he'd look up and he'd see Jerry Collins could catch the ball, like,
doesn't matter.
It's in the corner of the field. He'd run to the other side to run and Skalk. And then afterwards, arms around each other, first one in to have the beer. And that's one of the great things about him is when you speak to the opposition, they say there's not a tougher player that they played against. Dan Carter said that guy hunted me my whole career. He said he was evil the way he hunted me and hit me legally and hit me hard.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the end whistle went, he basically carried me like on a chariot. He was the nicest guy. I was his best mate. So I mean, Skalk is really, he epitomizes for me Springbok rugby.
Totally.
All the glorious things about it.
Totally.
And with this collab we're doing with Toyota Hilux Legend 55, and we've got the privilege today to be out in your catchment area, Blouberg, to be taking a little drive from Doodles through to Melkbos and back in the most incredible car provided to Ollie, my son Ollie Keo, for Leisure Wheels. He's been testing it, and they've given us a drive, and it's in Springbok green. And that's one of the first times I've seen that color vehicle in Springbok green.
Beautiful.
I also had the privilege of driving it here from town.
Hey.
It was it was like playing behind the Bokpak. I thought I was Kobus Reinach playing behind the Bokpak in Wellington.
But I mean, doesn't the Toyota Hilux really epitomize the South African driver, right? Like, I mean, that really is the South African sort of rugby fan. It goes together like hand in glove.
Put it this way, when I was in the driver's seat this morning, I felt like I was a 9 dictating things behind the Bokpak on the chart.
Oh, I love it.
It's just
I love
easy.
it.
Put it in that corner, do it like that, stick it into drive, back
Rolling
into sport
downhill.
mode, power, change the gears. No, it's
Love
incredible. So, and then what I love about this collab, as I keep on saying, is we do get to talk about yesterday's heroes, guys who are icons of the game. I'm not talking about in the 50s,
Yeah.
just recently.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's like rugby didn't exist before 2019,
Yeah.
but it did.
Yeah.
The 2007 Rugby World Cup champions, the Springboks, 7 magnificent weeks, the book that I wrote of their 7-week journey in France, primarily based in Paris.
Mm.
And Skalkberger was at the forefront of that. I mean, he was just amazing at that World Cup and one of the most influential players. And like you say, just his comeback from injury, the way he came back into redefining his role and just showing the skill level that he had. We need to keep on talking about the likes of him, the likes of Bakkie, the likes of Dani Rousseau. We are going to be celebrating Frans Steyn, who's leading. He's leading the Cheetahs, the Toyota Cheetahs, against Black Lion on Friday. There's finally some rugby in Bloemfontein. But the more we keep on talking and reminding people and telling the stories of the great Springbok players, the better. And it's thanks to partners like Toyota that we can do that.
Beautiful, mate. I love that. I mean, isn't that the truth? That's exactly where we are. So you've chosen some great guys there, mate. I'm looking forward to having a chat around Frans Steyn, who was a magician in his own right, mate. And, just remembering some of those older Springboks and those older times. I mean, if you're looking to get me a birthday present, mate, wrap up a compendium of Skalk's best games. Send me that on tape. I would love to have that in my back pocket. That's the sort of stuff of legend. And, I mean, he came through at a time when you had the George Smiths, Richie, Phil Waugh was in and around his prime at that point. Like that was
Moody.
Yeah, that was the era of the sort of open side, the emergence of the fetcher, and Skalk just absolutely wrecked the game, changed it. What a legend! What an absolute legend!
When we talk about legends, our own legend is Sharman, Mike Sharman.
Yes.
The Sharman corner, Cares boys. And Sharman's done it again. I mean, he's the heartbeat. He's the creative genius behind Heritage of Craft, Castle Lager's Heritage of Craft. And what a week to celebrate that. Bafana going to the World Cup for 2026. The Boks being world champions and rugby championship champions. And the cricket has been the current test champions. And Castle having the alignment with all of it. Written some lovely pieces that are all on SA Rugby magazine, on Keo, on the soccer side, on the cricket side, about the Heritage of Craft and the campaign that they've done. If you haven't seen the video, have a look at it. It's 3 minutes. It's spine tingling. And Shami went to Paris and he found a camera that from 1895 to celebrate the 130 years of Castle, the taste that stood the test of time, the association with the Proteas, with the Springboks, with Bafana, and he brought it back here, and he got some of the best to photograph with it. And that campaign is kind of about crafting and about the joy that went into it, but the hours that went into it, and everything that defines our national team. So when I think about how we won the World Cricket Championship at Lord's, the fight that we were in, on day one, it looked like we were gone. We came back and won it. True South African grit spirit. Bafana docked 3 points for fielding a player that wasn't registered. They had to come out and win it. They did it at home. And then the Springboks, 2 matches down in the first 3 in the Rugby Championship, came back and won it. And then to win by a point in Paris, the playoff games in 2023. You take 2007, the Rugby World Cup final when Monty and Frans Steyn scoring the 15 points between them, 12 to Monty, the big kick from Fronstein, obviously the Donny Rousseau cover tackle. You think Bafana 98 in France, making it to the World Cup. This whole campaign, with much love from Paris.
Beautiful, mate.
We are like, they may have stolen our World Cup,
Yeah.
but we stole everything back from them.
I love that.
They just played host to us.
Yeah.
And did it very well.
Revenge is sweet.
It is. They took our ball,
Yeah.
and we went to their background, and we just took the ball back home with a big trophy. So to Shami, just brilliant, mate. You support us, and we support you. He's also Retrovirals, his company. He's a Lurie's winner.
Wow.
Only that's big in the advertising agency. It's like the Oscars. So they got a bronze and a silver. I asked him what went wrong for the silver. And then his mates, another guy, Mike van Tonder. Guy was going to bring us in a lot of cash. He's brought us in nothing. But that doesn't mean that we don't mention him. The Media Most Awards 2025 Excellence Unwrapped. And he's at Heed. Media Owner of the Year, Heed. Media Owner Legend, Mike van Tonder.
Sure.
And he is a guy that did play for the Kes first 15, unlike Shami, where the legend is he did. And he played
Kes
with,
old boys are a little bit concerned about Kes's rugby program, mate.
they
They've been on
are,
the
and
phone.
rightly so,
Yeah.
after what Paul Khum did. to them.
Yeah.
But I like them because Sax can still beat them. So it's the one festival game I look forward to.
Yeah.
But Mike van Tonder, he played with Joe van Niekerk, Jungle Joe, the legend that he is. But yeah, to those guys, I mean, they give back so much to sport. Shami gives so much. I mean, he's very closely linked to SAB and to Castle. Those campaigns are just wonderful. So enjoy it. And what we're also going to enjoy, because no show would be complete without Zels being called when I download the app, Pick and Pay ASAP. Zels comes on that motorbike and he delivers hot sauce to me. We are putting out the challenge to everyone. People have been a bit gun shy, but we went to SA Rugby Magazine's editor, Simon Borchard, and we asked him to have a little taste. We went to SA Rugby Magazine's social media manager, Jean-Andre Joubert, and we asked him to have a taste. And we went to Africa Picks editor, Ollie Keohane, who's also on Getaway, and Leisure Wheels, and we asked him to have a taste. And we asked Imad
I was
Griffiths.
going to say, mate, surely we've got to get
We've
the
asked
last one in
Imad
there.
Griffiths, our videographer, producer, and one of the best around, to have a taste, because it's the Shisa Rewards Challenge month, and this is what they did.
Shy. That's what I like to see. Okay, look at this, guys.
Jesus, boy. Yeah, I love it. I'll have to take this bottle home. Eats so well.
Well, you can take some chips if you want.
No, I'm good. No, it really is good. As I said, I like hot food.
Layer it on. Nice. No, good. A little bit of a bite. I'll say. Okay, this one, yeah. Hey! I'll say. You always lekker. Get me one of these ASAP.